Hello guys and welcome back. You know, the Red Wing Iron Ranger is a killer boot. There's no doubt about that. You see these things all over social media, Instagram. They're pretty much the darling boot of the heritage community, and you can't get away from them, it seems like. But what if you want something a little bit more, a little bit higher quality, a little bit better finishing, something that's a little bit less common? Well, it's some of those alternatives that I have for you today. What follows is a list of boots which are measurably better than the Iron Ranger. But hang on a second, before you go and fire off an angry comment defending the Red Wing Iron Ranger, just know that I love my pair. I wear them all the time. As a matter of fact, if I had to pick my top 3 or 4 boots, the Iron Rangers would definitely be up there. I wear them constantly because they're so versatile. There's something you could throw on at a moment's notice and really get through most of your day with. So know that I love the Iron Ranger, but there are better alternatives out there, superior quality alternatives. That's all I'm saying. So Red Wing people, just back down a little bit, calm down, take a breath, you'll be all right. So admittedly, it's a great boot, but it's by no means perfect. Take, for example, that bulbous toe and that low block heel in the back. Oftentimes, especially at larger sizes, this can come off looking like a clown shoe. As a matter of fact, that was one of the comments that I got when I first showed this boot on a video of mine, people saying they look clownish, and they can, especially when they're longer, because the low block heel and the bulbous toe. There are some guys like Brian the Bootmaker who do resoles on these, and they can sort of alter that a little bit, give them a little bit higher heel and sort of take away that weird dimension that gives them that look. But right out the factory, they kind of have that look. So they're not perfect boots. The finishing on Red Wing boots has always been sort of utilitarian. It gets the job done, but nothing more. There's nothing that's hand burnished, polished, or anything that takes some extra time to do by hand. They're really meant to be a work boot. And after all, before the heritage line of Red Wing, that's what they were. I wore them for many years in my trade as an electrician in the field, and they're great for that. So oftentimes, you're not really looking for anything in the way of finishing. However, now that they've become a fashion accessory as well, there are other brands who are doing things better. And finally, it should really go without saying, but all of these additional things come at additional cost. Sometimes we're talking twice, 3 times the price, even more than the Iron Ranger goes for. And you'll have to ask yourself whether it's worth it. We're beyond the line of diminishing return here, well into the land of luxury with some of these items. I know that going into it, and so should you. So I'm going to stop yapping and let's get right into the list. Number 1 on this list is the Alden Indie boot. Now that would be either the 403, which is in chrome excel leather, the 405, which is in calfskin, or the Cordovan model. Now the Cordovan goes for about $823, and I mean, unless you really love this boot and you know that they fit you well, I wouldn't go for that one. But these have been made in the USA for over 100 years. They're a great combination of rugged and dressy, just like the Iron Ranger, which means that they're ultra versatile. After all, if they're good enough for Indiana Jones, they're good enough for me. These feature a 270-degree Goodyear welt. They are combination lasted, so I really recommend trying them on in person to make sure that the fit is perfect. Number 2 is the Falcon boot from NYX. Now, this comes in at about $485. It's made in the USA, stitched down construction with a day-night sole. They come in either Predator Orange, which is similar to kind of the rust color of the Iron Ranger, or black. I really like that Predator Orange. But these things are built like a tank. I have a pair of NYX Builder Pros, and they are by far the most solid boots that I own. So I would have no doubt that these things will last you probably the rest of your life if you take care of them. Next is the White's MP-M1 boot. Now, these come in at $600. They're made in the USA, and White's is a really great old American company. They've been around since 1853. These feature a half-lug sole, gunmetal hardware, and a beautiful cinnamon waxed flesh. Now, White's has a lot of really great boots, so there's a couple other models that you may want to be aware of, like the Bounty Hunter, which I actually have in Cordovan, and the White's Service boot, which is basically the default cool boot from that area of the country. Up next is the Westcote Jobmaster Custom, beginning at $450. Another great old American brand since 1918. Actually, interestingly enough, from the same area of the country, Spokane, Washington. Same as NYX, same as White's. So pretty neat that they all come from the same area. But these are customizable to a huge degree on the Westcote site. So whatever you want as far as heights, different soles, different configurations of leather, you could get whatever you want on the Westcote site. Next is arguably the most handsome service boot you can buy today, and that's the Viborg service boot, beginning at $699. You can actually buy shell Cordovan versions, which are much more expensive, but these are Canadian made using oil-tanned, rough-out leather, stitched-down construction, a day-night sole. I mean, they're beautiful. They'll last you for a long time. There have been issues with the quality control there, but I don't think that you'll find a Viborg owner who wouldn't recommend them. Next up is the Roll Club Underdog. Now, these are made in Los Angeles, USA by Brian the Bootmaker, and he has some great videos here on YouTube. They're available only through custom order, so you can call him up or send him an email. He'll get one started for you, but be prepared to spend probably $1,000 and up. I really couldn't find any solid pricing on these, but I'm sure that depending on what kind of leather you choose, but most of the time, you're going to be looking at easily into the $1,000 range. My next pick is the John Lofgren combat boots. Now, these are a little bit cheaper at $820. Again, though, a very high level of finishing. Handmade in Japan, Goodyear welted, Vibram soles and heel, but John Lofgren has a way of making boots that look very sleek and very refined, but also rugged. I think that his engineer boots are the best looking on the market. These right here are a little bit different, again, to kind of keep in the vein of the Iron Ranger, but they are beautiful. For $820, you're getting a very high level of finishing, a very high quality boot. Next is what I would argue is the best value going in handmade footwear today, and that is the MyG Handmade Black Maria. Now, MyG Handmade has a couple of different models out there. I happen to own the nail shank boot, but when I broke it down per hour, what this guy is actually charging, I think it's just a matter of time before he realizes what's going on and becomes more popular and then sends his prices up, because I just don't know how he's doing it. For $750, you're getting a handmade by one guy in the USA, hand-carved channel, hand-welted boot with an extremely high level of finishing and attention to detail. For $750, I mean, it's a steal. It's an absolute steal. Next is the Clinch Graham boot. Now, these come in at $1,442. We're talking double the price of the MyGs, but again, handmade in Japan, hand-welted, embossed calf leather with an O'Sullivan heel, very cool retro look. These, though, are only available, since they're made in Japan, it's kind of hard to get them, but you can go on Poncho and Lefty and actually get them there. But, I mean, talking about a high level of craftsmanship and quality, we're talking about the upper echelon here. Finally on my list is arguably the most high-quality boot that you can buy today, and that is from White Cloud. Now, these are extremely difficult to get because it's one guy who makes them, one at a time, of course, but you'd be hard-pressed to find a boot with better finishing. These typically require a trip to Japan to get measured and fit by the maker. I mean, of course, they're hand-welded, entirely made by hand, with prices to match, but if you're looking for the absolute best boot that you can buy today, even by the measure of other boot makers who really just, they can't believe how high quality the finishing is on the White Cloud boots, well, then this is your answer. So guys, if you're looking for a superior alternative to the Iron Ranger, one of these has to fit the bill. It has to. Now let's be clear too, these are not work boots. When we're talking about work boots, which have specific safety requirements for a particular task, that's a whole separate category. So I don't want to see any comments about these aren't real working man boots. You know, knock it off. I've been in the trades. I've been working in construction my entire life. You're preaching to the choir here, okay? But if you're somebody who likes a boot for what it is and likes to wear it casually, well, in that case, there's definitely something here for you. And all different price points, too. If you're talking about in the $400 range, which is just slightly above the Iron Ranger, but you're getting arguably a much higher level of quality, like with the NYX and with the Westcote, I really think that those alternatives are superior to the Iron Ranger in basically every single way. But of course, I want to know what you think, so please leave me a comment in the comment section below so we can talk about it down there and you can argue with other Red Wing people. You know, again, no hate toward the Iron Ranger. I love the boot. Wear it all the time, but there are alternatives out there, and we can't get so singularly focused on one brand to think that they could never do any wrong, or there aren't superior alternatives out there. I think that's really important. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it, and I'll catch you next time.